Which brings me back to another thing that I wanted to mention earlier when we were talking about orchestration, but this also goes into modern music now, which is for a good 5 to 10 years of mixing, about that same time where we're talking about the Dr. Luke and the Max Martin, like, you know, demolishment of pop music, where everything was just
maximization of everything, just maximize everything.
Exactly. And everything's dense, but a lot of the things are similarly in tune and out of the same box. It was like a lot of Juno, a lot of Prophet, a lot of the same synths, a lot of, you know, whatever the VSTs that people were using at the time. Whatever, it's not worth my time to remember. Vengeance and all that. Exactly. Yeah. The first thing I would do to all these sounds to make it feel more orchestral, again, how I think about arrangements, is you put on choruses and you put on detunings like the wow and flutter stuff in tape machines, these subtle, realistic detuning, like the RC20 has that warble thing that people started putting on. Now people are doing that more. Yeah, it was a big thing for a while. People are catching on that like intonation is what makes music feel human. So much EDM and pop had very minimal detuning. The best of the best were doing it. So I'm not saying like Luke wasn't detuning, but it was oscillators.
It was like one sound. I mean, actually, Beckley talked about this. Like Luke is an incredible guitar player, intentionally playing things a little wonky with the guitar riffs, and then the vocals and everything else are perfect. But that's the element that makes it feel a little more human.
So my gut reaction to all of these sounds was the first thing, besides no saturation, no compression, no EQ. It was always intonation. There's always, can I just make this feel like it's warbling a bit? Nothing is this in tune. Like, why did you not detune one oscillator? It sounds exactly the same left and right. It's like recording the same guitar sound with the same amp, the same pickup, the same guitar left and right. It phases out and it doesn't sound wide. Eric Valentine's guitar sounded so wide because there were different amps, there were different pickups, there were different guitars. It's fucking lazy to just record the same guitar left and right and call it a double. It's fucking lazy, or it's misinformation, or no one knows about it, right? Like no one's been taught that that's an easy way to get things to sound wider and bigger. You know, putting a widening imager plugin on will never make something feel as wide as two different guitars left and right.
Yeah.
And I bet, 40% of the people on this set have never even heard that. Like, that's not, I'm not trying to downplay it. Just like, it's not a modern thing that people are talking about and mixed with the masters. It's like, oh, we put on a fucking 1176 and it brought the vocal to life. It's like, no, Adele sang that vocal and brought it to life. I didn't bring your vocal to life with an 1176. But Eric Valentine did bring a record to life by the difference of guitar sounds on the left and the right speaker. It adds weight. It adds space. It adds the je ne sais quoi that you can't really pinpoint what it's doing. It's just enough different but similar to get space and weight. And that's what we're all going for with every time we double stack a vocal, every time we double stack a guitar, when we're layering drums. Don't layer the same drum. You can zoom in on the waveform. If you have two kick drums that look exactly the same, waveforms, but like slightly, different than each other, that's probably not the right drum to layer, because you're not adding it. You're adding volume. You want some sort of different tone. Do you want an upper kick that has some sort of like Timbaland crust on it, and then mix with like a really clean hip hop sine wave kick to give you that low end punch and knock? Or do you just stack kicks until you think you have a cool kick sound? Because like, have intention of why you're stacking. It's the same concept of stacking guitars and doubling vocals with different mics like we talked about a few weeks ago.
Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, all of this content is free. There's no secret knowledge here. There's no Patreon. We don't read ads. We don't have sponsors. We're just trying to build a knowledge base. All that we ask in return is that you share it with somebody. Thanks so much.